We had a few scattered showers today, but heavier rain and even cooler temperatures move in tomorrow, and that's where we begin tonight. Thanks for joining us on the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden. So how long does the rain stick around? Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank is here with the answer. Rach?
We have really 2 more days before the sun fully comes back out again. And tomorrow is one of those days where at times it could be dry and then all of a sudden the sky just opens up. So variable conditions. Right now things are pretty quiet, but look at all of these downpours and even thunderstorms to the west of us. Right now we're seeing gusts that are up to 18 miles per hour in Bridgeport, but the winds have diminished for a lot of the rest of the state. And even though we're in a break in the action right now, that rain fills back in again as we head towards the pre-dawn hours. So check in with the morning show crew. They'll let you know where the trouble spots are to start off the day. Again, some areas might be dealing with heavy rain, while others it's just not so bad. It's just kind of the luck of the draw tomorrow. And that makes it challenging for outdoor plans and activities since it can really shower at any time. Temperatures will climb into the 50s to right around 60 degrees. And again, while it won't rain from start to finish, there's at least a chance for rain off and on through the course of the day. Then heading into Friday, there could be a couple lingering showers, but most of the time is dry before a big pattern change. And you're just seeing the beginning of it there on Saturday. We'll talk about how warm the temperatures get next week. It's impressive. Coming up, Brent.
The state health department says there's a confirmed case of Clade 1 mpox in Connecticut. Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot spoke to officials about whether people should be concerned.
People I spoke with say they aren't worried about the first case of Clade 1 mpox being detected in Connecticut.
Wednesday afternoon, DPH identified the first case of Clade 1 mpox through testing performed at the State Public Health Laboratory. The person with this case recently traveled to Western Europe where Clade 1 mpox is currently spreading. Officials at DPH say this case doesn't pose a risk to the public. Doctors like Paul Anthony, who specializes in infectious diseases, explained how it spreads and says people shouldn't panic.
If people are going to be having, it's usually like repeated close contact or through soiled linens, like if people have contact with the lesion that the person has, it can be transmitted sexually. So those are the folks I would say right now might be a good time to talk to their provider about their personal risk. And then if they're at risk and they have not been vaccinated, this is the time.
People I spoke with in Hartford say they have mixed opinions when it comes to Clade 1 mpox and the hantavirus.
I feel like it shouldn't be no threat, but a lot of people will be threatened because of it. And I feel like others shouldn't be threatened by it because we already got over the pandemic with COVID, so we could overcome this one. Just be smart, basically.
I want to catch it, and I hope it's not another, like, what's that word? Quarantine, yeah, like the coronavirus.
When it comes to Clade 1 mpox, some symptoms include skin rash after flu-like symptoms, blisters, fever and chills, and headaches. DPH urges people who may be at risk to get fully vaccinated with the Jynneos vaccine. Dr. Anthony broke down who was at risk of getting this illness.
Men will have sex with men, whether they just have sex with men or they're bisexual. But there's also a risk of, like, within the household, if someone gets it and people are caring for them, like, there's also a risk there because they're going to have repeated contact with them as well.
If you do think you're at risk, you should contact your health provider and get vaccinated. In Hartford, Kay Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
Kay, thank you. A 1-year-old child has been identified as the third victim in a deadly crash that killed 3 people last weekend. It happened Sunday on Route 15 near exit 36 in Stratford. State police say the crash caused a fire. They identified the victims as 29-year-old Maria Vasquez Chacon, 21-year-old Jocelyn Vasquez Chacon, and 1-year-old Yanilat De Paz. Now, troopers say they are looking for the other driver who left the crash scene. Anyone with information about what happened there is asked to contact state police. And investigators are working to find out what caused a crash between a motorcycle and a car in Vernon. It happened yesterday on Route 30 near a car dealership. Police say the man on the motorcycle suffered serious injuries. The driver of the car is cooperating with the investigation, and no charges have been filed at this time. An 82-year-old bicyclist is recovering after crashing into a van yesterday. Groton police say the driver of the van and the man riding an electric bike were both traveling on Allen Street in the Mystic section of town. Investigators say the bicyclist veered into traffic from the shoulder and hit the side of the van. Police say the driver stayed at the scene and is cooperating with the investigation. One person was hurt in a stabbing in New Haven. Police were called to the area of Shelton Avenue and Munson Street last night, and when they arrived, they say they found a 46-year-old man with stab wounds. Investigators say his injuries were not life-threatening. Police are still working to determine what led to that stabbing. And a business in Windsor was shot at early this morning, leaving several bullet holes in the glass front of the store. Police say no one was hurt in the shooting at Run It Up Boutique on Windsor Avenue. Tonight, investigators are reviewing surveillance video as they work to find who's responsible. Fox 61's Jamel Johnson has the latest.
Police say 3 masked gunmen fired shots into this building behind me in the middle of the night. Landlord John Gibson didn't even know what happened until he got a phone call several hours later.
I got a phone call from my daughter about 7:45 this morning, told me that it looked like some gunshot holes was in my window. I called 911 and told them what was going on. When I got down there, the police was there and they was taping off things. So this thing actually happens at, I believe, at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Gibson says he noticed the bullet holes in the building as soon as he arrived. As police began search for evidence, they reviewed video from a security camera outside the store. Gibson also saw the video. He says he's shocked by what he saw.
Camera showed me it was 3 guys pulling out their guns, shooting up this urban store that I went out to, these guys, young guys, and they were shooting up their windows. I think they about 27 rounds they shot. I'm glad everybody was safe. Nobody got shot.
Police said the gunman took off south on Windsor Avenue towards Skitchawog Street. Gibson rents the building to Run It Up Boutique. He says the situation makes him nervous and he doesn't understand why someone would target the store.
Nothing usually happens out here. I've been out here 11, 12 years and nothing like this I have seen at all. So this is something new to us. We want to put an end to it, and hopefully the criminals get caught as soon as possible.
I talked to people who live nearby. They didn't want to talk on camera, but they say they are disturbed by what happened. Now, we asked Gibson if he could send us the surveillance footage from the shop, but he said he didn't want to compromise the investigation. In Windsor, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
A Connecticut state trooper faces a computer crime charge tonight. State police say Trooper First Class Marwing Pena turned himself into Troop I today on a charge of third-degree computer crime. Pena is out on bond tonight. He was placed on administrative leave and his police powers were suspended immediately. Pena has been with state police since 2018 and was most recently assigned to Troop H in Hartford. Well, Waterbury's former water superintendent, Bradley Millay, is willing to plead guilty to forgery charges if he is accepted into an accelerated rehabilitation program. That's according to his attorney. Millay is accused of lying about his education and professional qualifications. Waterbury police say they discovered the alleged misconduct while investigating the city's water flow problems during several fires. The mayor has said Millay's actions are not directly connected to those water flow issues.
Essentially, our position is Mr. Millay was well qualified, he did his job, and really, for lack of a better expression, is a political fall guy for an incident that took place.
Millay's next court date is July 1st. His lawyer told us if he's not accepted into the program, he will plead not guilty. Well, a Southington man has been sentenced to 7.5 years in prison for selling privately made AR-15 rifles and marijuana. Court records show Brian Joyce was arrested in 2022 after he offered to sell assault weapons and other firearms, including privately made guns. Prosecutors say Joyce was not legally allowed to possess firearms because of his criminal history, which included drug larceny and burglary charges. In addition to prison time, he will also serve 3 years of supervised release. And a person is in the hospital tonight with serious injuries after surviving a 20-foot fall in Manchester. It happened last night behind a strip mall on Slater Street. The fire department says the person was leaning against a fence above a steep drop-off when the fence broke. Firefighters had to use a ladder and ropes to pull that person to safety. Well, more than a dozen people in Meriden are staying somewhere else tonight after an overnight fire forced them out of their homes. Fox 61's Priscilla Meza brings us the details from East Main Street.
There may not be visible damage outside of this multi-family home, but the Meriden Fire Department says this fire was a big one. When it went to a second alarm, all the fire crews in the city as well as some neighboring towns were called here just after 12:30 Wednesday morning. The fire chief told us the fire was on the 3rd floor. One firefighter was taken to the hospital for overexertion and was released a few hours later, while another was checked for an injury at the scene but continued working. Thankfully, no one inside was hurt. The firefighters did rescue and revive one cat from the 3rd floor apartment.
We don't know how that cat is doing.
The Red Cross is helping 17 people with things like shelter, food, and clothing. The Meriden Fire Marshal's office is investigating what caused the fire. In Meriden, Priscilla Meza, Fox 61.
Want more news and weather? Fox 61 has you covered. Tomorrow, join us for 30 minutes of nonstop news only at 11 a.m. No breaks, no commercials, just weather and all the local news you need to stay informed. It's happening on the Fox 61 app. You can download it onto your TV and watch for free right now.